Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Today, we are going to do a trailer reaction to a TV show called The Pendragon Cycle, Rise of the Merlin. It is going to be exclusively on the Daily Wire Plus app. It drops January 22nd, and I got the boys here with me. We're going to react to it, dive into the show and the production behind it, give you guys our thoughts and stuff like that. So, I got Jay Sherer in Orange Grove 55. Thank you for joining me, boys. How's everything today?
Really good, Tones. I always love being on Tones TV. It's always a good time with you guys.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
Tones TV is the best. I'm always looking forward to. We're gonna talk about Stranger Things, right, Tones?
Oh, yeah, tomorrow is a huge day,
A
but we're
huge
recording
day.
on Tuesday, the 25th. So,
So if you
yes,
watch this, watch those because I'm gonna be talking to Tones about that.
we're going to be talking a bunch of Stranger Things for 2 months probably because of the drops. But yeah, Jay's going to be breaking down some episodes with me on that. But today we're breaking down the Pendragon Circle. And Jay, before we get started, thank you for joining me. And if you could tell the people where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me over at How Stories Work with Jay Shear. I'm trying to learn how to make better films, and so you can watch some of my films over there. Disclosure: the poster is right here, just came out. You can watch that. You can actually watch that. Where did we? Was it on your channel, OG, that we got Tone's reaction? Because
Yes.
Tones had one
Yes.
of the best live reactions that I've seen, and I was like, "That's dope." So you
Oh
can
no, that
actually,
was my channel. That was my
it was
channel.
your
Yeah,
channel.
that was
Okay,
his
yeah, yeah.
channel. Yeah.
Cool. I
Yes.
love that. I love that reaction. That was really fun. You can see Disclosure. No Vacancy should be coming out in January, so you'll be able to see No Vacancy as well. No Vacancy is the award-winning one that went on the film circuit, and so it had a bunch of awards that it won. But yeah, you can find me over at How Stories Work with Jay Shear. Thanks for having me on, Tones.
Of course. And yes, I will link Jay's stuff down below. Please go give Disclosure a watch and No Vacancy when it drops. He does amazing breakdown for films as well on his YouTube channel. So go show him some love there. And OG, thank you again, as always, brother, for joining
Yeah.
me. If you could tell the people where they can find you as well.
I appreciate you, Tones, for having me on Tones TV. Always a good time talking shop with you and Jay. Love you guys. Yeah, you can find me right here on YouTube, Orange Grove with E5. We talk a lot about theme parks, studio, even the corporate side of things. Right now, the big news is Comcast, Universal, Netflix, Paramount. Who's going to buy Warner Brothers? We're dipping into that, quite a bit of that. But yeah, you can find me right here, Orange Grove 55. You can also find me on Instagram, Orange Grove 55.
I
Yes,
want to talk
sir.
about that on your channel, dude. You need to invite me back on because you guys are like all Comcast. Oh, we all
Yeah.
Comcast shills. I'm like sitting there
Yeah,
listening. I'm like, Paramount should win this battle, dude. I'm not happy with this. You gotta have me
yeah.
on so I can
Dude,
argue with
Yes.
you guys.
absolutely. Now that you're back, back home and everything from Florida, let's go, dude.
Let's
I
do it.
can't
Let's
wait.
do
I
Yeah.
it.
that whole thing right there with the Warner Brothers stuff is fascinating to me.
It's so fascinating. You
Me,
guys do a
me
It's
great
huge.
job
too.
of covering it too.
Thank you.
The
Appreciate that, man.
actually news dropped today. I think I put in our group chat. It was I think it was Paramount. They put like they only want to buy, or I think it was Netflix and Paramount. They only want to buy certain things.
Yeah,
And
Netflix and Comcast
Comcast. Okay.
only want to buy the non-linear stuff. They want to just
Yes. There you
take
go.
over like the studio stuff. And Paramount's deal is like we'll buy all of the stuff because
Everything.
the problem in the industry is that linear is dying. So it still is a profitable business, but it's dying. And so if
Yeah.
you look at it from a valuation standpoint, you go, well, I don't want to overpay because it's going to go out of business at some point in time, right? It's going to become
Yep.
like much lower. And so Netflix doesn't want any part of that because Netflix isn't doing anything linear anyways, right?
Yep.
But and Comcast kind of gets to do whatever they want to because they're like one of the bigger players. And then
Yeah.
Paramount is the Ellison family, and they're like building it out, and they're like, we'll take it all because they just want to get it. So
See, all right. Yes, we will be doing that ASAP then, because I would love to get your opinion.
yeah.
Love to get your opinion. But Pendragon Cycle, the Rise of the Merlin. For those who don't know, this Merlin and the storyline is something kind of special to me in a way that when I was growing up, I purchased my first monthly subscription to Netflix for the very first time. The very first TV show I watched was Merlin, and it was still to this day, storyline wise, some of the best TV I've watched. Like the storyline was just beautiful. Merlin was um, looking after Arthur when he was a prince, and then Uther was the king, and it was just the storyline of him protecting King Arthur was just amazing to watch. And it was back in 2008, I think it was 2010. I was still, 18, 17 years old. And now that they're making another TV show about Merlin, and I get that a lot of people are frustrated on where it's being put at, but I still think by just the trailer, I've seen pictures, and I think it's going to be a great TV show. Now, Jay, the going into this TV show, you've kind of did a little bit. Is there anything that stuck out to you before we get into the trailer?
Well, no, the only thing I'll say is that I have seen the trailer. I don't remember it that well because I was just kind of watching something else where they were talking about it.
Gotcha.
And I used to read this book series back when this book series came out. Way back in the day, just like you with Merlin. There was a computer game. I can't remember the name. I think it was like Knights of the Round Table or something like that. It was a computer game that I got really into, and they had a booklet like about this thick about the Arthurian legend. And bro, I would go over that thing, and I started buying all of these books related to like King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table and stuff.
Yes.
And there's some really good books out there actually that are about that. And this series is about that. So I was like, that's cool. I'm going to start reading that. So I started reading that as well. And then there's some controversy about who produced it and all that kind of stuff, which I'm sure we'll get into. But
yes,
I did a little bit of poking around just to see what was going on because that's interesting to me about who funds things because I make movies, right? So I obviously need financial partners to do things. Not that I would want to work with those financial partners, but I'm just saying, like, just knowing how they're working and what they're doing to be able to spend money intrigues me. So I was kind of paying attention to that, but we'll talk about it after we see the trailer. Sure.
And this TV show is an adaptation of the books that Stephen Lawhead had written. There's 7 books. I'm not too sure on how they're going to be putting the TV show and the books. I don't know if it's 2 books in one season. I don't know if it's 1 season, 1 book. We'll get to there once the show is released. But OG, you had said that you have no idea what this is about, but the story Merlin, just the story in general, the character, what that was something you dipped into, previously, correct?
I mean,
you've read about.
Yeah, I'm familiar with the character. Obviously the Disney classic, Sword in the Stone, all that good stuff. So I like the character and the King Arthur and all that stuff. I just never seen this particular adaptation of it, so I'm very curious about that.
Yeah, and by the way, this show drops January 22nd of next year. Apparently, if you get the Daily Wire app, you're able to see the first 2 episodes a month prior in December. So,
just because I looked it up right now, Tones. It's called Spirit of Excalibur, the game I used to play.
Oh,
bro,
okay, Excalibur.
Bro, this game came out. This is how old I am. This game came out in 1990, bro. That's how far back my Arthurian legend fandom goes.
Yeah,
man.
Dude, some of those computer games back then, dude, like Oregon's Trail. Yeah, that was a dope one, dude. Yeah. I mean,
this one was
did you ever play Lemonade Stand? Or no?
No, I never played Lemonade Stand.
Oh, that was a great. I used to play that with my dad, bro. That game was really good with kids because you would set up your lemonade stand and you would have to determine the pricing scale.
Oh yeah.
And with the demand and the supply and all that, dude, it was really good for kids. I used to love that game, dude.
That's so cool.
Shit, I used to play. That's so funny because you were playing Lemonade Stand. I was shooting with TIE fighters and Star Wars games with my dad.
Yeah, totally.
Well, see, because you were more like a '90s era.
Yeah,
and Jay
I was
and
born
I
in
were
'91.
Yeah, see, so when you were old enough, you were mid '90s. It was full on that whole Nintendo.
We got a decade on you, brother.
Yeah, man. Jay and I were doing floppies, bro. Floppy disk.
Floppy disk.
Right. Yeah,
thank you for finishing the disc part.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man,
I don't want to get demonetized, Tones. I don't want to get demonetized.
Yeah.
But yes, so guys, we are gonna watch the trailer, give our reaction, discuss it at the end, and then, like I said, we're gonna get into a little bit of a discussion about the show and what's behind it. So, you boys ready?
Yep.
Let's go.
Are we good time wise?
Oh, this is an illusion, an echo of a voice that has died, and soon that echo will cease.
They say that Merlin is mad. They say he was a king in David, the son of a princess of lost Atlantis. They say the future and the past are known to him, that the fire and the wind tell him their secrets, that the magic of the hill folk and druids come forth at his easy command. They say he slew hundreds, do you hear? That the world burned and trembled at his wrath.
The Merlin died long before you and I were born.
Merlin Emrys has returned to the land of the living.
Vortigern is gone. Rome is gone. The Saxon is here.
Saxon Hengist has assembled the greatest war host ever seen in the Island of the Mighty. And before the summer is through, he means to take the throne. And he will have it. If we are too busy squabbling amongst ourselves to take up arms against him. Here is your hope. A king will arise to hold all Britain in his hand. A high king who will be the wonder of the world.
You to a future of peace.
There'll be no peace in these lands till we are all dust.
Men of the Island of the Mighty, you stand together. You stand as Britons. You stand as one.
Great darkness is falling upon this land. These brothers are our only hope to stand against it.
Not our only hope.
They say Merlin slew 70 men with his own hands. I could say he slew 500.
No man is capable of such a thing.
The mortal man.
Wow, dude. Man, I have thoughts on this, dude. I got thoughts on this.
Let's hear it.
Okay, so here's the
Go
thing.
first.
Here's the thing. Okay, and Jay, I think you'll know what I'm talking about with this, and Tony, you might too, actually. But like, one of the big issues I've had with like grifters in our space, right, is that they will look at, say, Bob Iger or Disney's politics, and they made the determination that everything Disney does is bad because they don't like the politics that Disney holds, or like Bob Iger or whatever. So everything they do now is bad. No matter how good or bad it really is, it's bad. I don't like Ben Shapiro. I don't like the Daily Wire. I'm not of that political realm or whatever, but I'm not going to be the grifters. I'm going to call it like I see it. And honestly, despite what I feel about, Daily Wire and all their politics and all their BS, this looks fucking good. Oh, I'm sorry, I cussed, but yeah, it looks great. It looks fantastic, dude. I got to say, I'm interested. This looks really, really good.
Yeah, the cinematography within the trailer, you could speak of this better than me, Jay. I thought blew me away. Like, I was in shock of some of this slow motion they use, some of the shots that they chose to use for that trailer, the overhead of the those buildings getting blown up by whatever. I think they were like burning rocks. Like, that was an amazing. Obviously, that was probably more CGI than it was actual, footage. But the cinematography is what got me within the trailer, and then the storyline behind it. It doesn't look like. It looks like people are talking about Merlin, who they once thought was dead, and now is back from hundreds of years later, and I believe it looked like he was fighting for the Saxons, if I'm not mistaken. And it just looked amazing.
What is probably likely, because part of Arthurian legend is, and it depends on the type of Arthurian legend, because generally speaking, we're going to say that Arthurian legend takes place around like 400 AD, right? So it's during like the beginning of the fall of the Roman Empire, and Rome had branched all the way into Britain. And one of the things that got Rome out of Britain even faster was the Saxon and the Viking like raiders that came in and started raiding that area. More so the Saxons. And so I don't think Merlin is part of the Saxons, probably because he's probably more of a Celtic ingrained
okay.
in Great Britain. He has that little circle on his face, which I'm thinking is probably Celtic, but I'm not positive. We'll have to see when the show comes out. And I don't remember from the books exactly where, because there's so many different ways they take all that stuff. Like some people include the Romans, some people don't include the Romans. Like it's a whole thing. But yeah, so it'll be interesting to see like what his, like where he comes from actually is, you know.
And to answer your question, or to not answer your question, but kind of elaborate what you were saying, OG, is I don't have a dog in the race. I don't have any kind. I don't like talking politics whatsoever. And I'll tell you guys why. And like I said, I hate talking politics is because whoever's on the left or right, I've never seen a conversation where it ended where they were like, okay, I see your side. I could see where you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That doesn't
never
happen in politics. So to me, that's not a conversation worth having. So that's why I never talk politics. And when it comes to this show, yes, a lot of people will get into the whole Daily Wire thing later down after we talk about the trailer. But the whole Daily Wire thing, I understand that people have an opinion on what they represent, but it has nothing to do with Merlin and this storyline besides them backing it with money. And I get that people have strong opinions when it comes to politics, but to me that doesn't factor in why I think this TV show is good. I'm gonna call it how I see it. Like OG said, this looks fucking fantastic. This looks amazing.
No, it looks great, dude. And like even like I love these kind of shows, and this is totally a Tones Poppy show, by the way. I if I saw this trailer, I'd be like, okay, this is Tones' thing, and this is great. But it reminds me, you guys ever watch that show Vikings on Netflix?
Oh, 100%. Yep.
I used to love that show, and it was kind of giving a little bit of that vibe, you know, a little Game of Thrones vibe, dude. I'm honestly kind of surprised. I didn't think Daily Wire had. I know it's a big outlet. I didn't know the budgeting was this. This is like a really legit show, dude. It doesn't look cheap at all. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So, well done. At least in the trailer.
Yep. What's your opinion on just the trailer so far, Jay? What'd you think about it?
I thought it was really interesting that the thing I had seen before that people were reacting to, I believe, was probably a teaser because there was nothing about the storyline in it at all, and there's like kind of like just little bits of fighting here and there. I think a couple things it has going for it, but a couple things I'm worried about. I liked the subject material, right? Because I liked the Stephen R. Lawhead books that as a kid. If you asked me like what was in those books, I'd be like, bro, I don't remember. Each one was like named after like one of the characters. So one was Merlin, and then one was Arthur, and then one was they kind of followed each of those characters. Okay. But like I don't remember them very well. I will say this. My biggest problem with fantasy series in the modern day, it's happened to me with The Witcher. It's happened to me with Game of Thrones, not so much because Game of Thrones was really, really well done. House of the Dragon, really, really well done. There were a couple other fantasy series. Another big, Wheel of Time. I watched all of these things, right? Because I'm a big fantasy fan, right?
Wait, real quick, time out, Jay. Why haven't we talked about the Wheel of Time?
I don't know, bro. We need to.
Oh my god, I have so much thoughts. It's one of my favorite shows, like to this day. Like,
and then you and I talked about season 3 being awesome. Was that OG?
Didn't they just end it and like there's like fans were fighting for like another season or something like that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I never saw it, but I remember there's a big thing about that.
They canceled it after the best season, which is weird. It was like, that was the best season, and they canceled
it. And not only did they cancel it after the best season and the highest rated fantasy TV show out, they canceled it after not giving the proper promotion for the TV show, and it still did the numbers that it did, and it got canceled.
There was another one. Blood and Ice or something like that. There was another one that was I thought was pretty good. I hadn't read the books for that one. So here's my complaint about all of these shows. And it's the first season of Wheel of Time. I complained about this for that too. It's never a better example. We haven't seen a better example of what I'm about to complain about than we have seen with The Witcher. I don't know if you guys have watched The Witcher, but if you start watching The Witcher and you've never read any of the books, because I hadn't read any of the books at the time I started watching it. I had also not played the game. There's like 3 video games, I think. Bro, the thing made no sense. It was like they said to each other, "Hey, we can go create a TV show and everyone's gonna love it. By the way, the concept is awesome. The concept is that it had come from a series of short stories where this guy wrote about the Witcher who was supposed to come into your town, and he was kind of like this like rogue kind of like fighter guy. He had a sword and he had some magic he could use, and he was supposed to come into your town and defeat whatever monster was attacking you or whatever, right? And the monsters were like Eastern European, like Slovakian kind of monster creatures. So it was awesome. It was like, oh, this is really cool. But bro, the TV show, it was like taking place at 3 different time periods, and you're like,
Dude,
I have no idea what's going on.
That's
bro.
why I couldn't get into it.
Yeah.
That's exactly why I couldn't get into it, is because I was lost after 3 episodes. I was like, where the fuck are we?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
Bro, it was terrible. So and then I started watching. I watched 2 seasons, but I had to text my brother because my brother is super into fantasy stuff. He's read like every fantasy book there is. So I'm like, bro, what is happening? And you have to fill me in, like, oh, this is what's happening. This is what the reason why you don't understand it is because this is how it did. This is
It shouldn't be like that.
No, you can't do that. You can't make a show that that's the case. The
No.
only reason The Witcher has done so well, and I stopped watching season 3 because I was like, I don't even care what's going on anymore. The only reason it did really well was because the fight coordinator, whoever they hired as the fight coordinator for that series, was legit, and their CG was legit. So when he would actually fight a monster, and it wasn't the side stories of all that's going on in the kingdom, it was actually cool. I was like, oh, this is awesome. I can just watch like YouTube videos of just these fights. But then the storyline was out of control, and that same thing happened to me. Not as bad, but it also happened to me on the first season of Wheel of Time. I had to text my brother and ask my brother a bunch of stuff like, hey, I don't understand what's going on. Why is this guy doing this? Why is this person doing this? Which one of these people is actually the dragon? I can't figure it out. He's like texting me and like telling me. So it got better, by the way, with season 2, and then season 3 was like very understandable. Like, you could totally tell what's going on. So my only concern with anything that comes out that's in the fantasy realm is that people have to remember that most of us who are going to watch did not read the source material.
Yep.
So you have to walk us into this as if we don't have any clue about what's going on, so that we can get fully invested in the characters. Game of Thrones did that insanely well, particularly because they were able to follow. I mean, the subject material, the Game of Thrones books did it pretty well, but the fact that they said like, no, we're going to stick with the Stark family for most of season 1 and make sure you understand the Starks and you understand the Lannisters, and if you understand those 2 groups, we can start adding other people as we go into season 2, season 3, all that worked really, really well, and it was done magnificently. I just worry about, like, when I watch something like this, I think that the nice thing about this is that it looks like it is mostly focused around who is Merlin, is he back, and can he help us out? And that actually seems good to me, because it seems like, oh, I can understand the trailer. So if I can understand the trailer, hopefully I can go ahead and understand the show. But that's the only thing I'm worried about, is that like sometimes these big productions, they pay for the cinematography, they pay for the fighting, and then they don't pay the writers, or they get writers who make no sense, who've never written anything before. And you're like, what are we even doing? Because I can't understand what's going on screen.
Well, and that makes a lot of sense, Jay, because that is the perfect formula for an amazing trailer, but it makes for not a great show. So like we're right? Like the cinematography, the fight scenes, all that stuff. Oh, that's perfect for when you're doing the trailer. Yeah. So we're looking at it going, oh, this is dope. But once you dive into the details of the story, we'll see how the writing is and all that stuff. Hopefully it's legit. I'm rooting for it because it does look pretty cool. But that could be a problem. It could be,
And to add on to those concerns is this format that a lot of fantasy TV shows are using nowadays is the 7-8 episode formats.
Yeah.
And I have a strong feeling about this because I made videos about this plenty for House of the Dragon, the Wheel of Time, anything fantasy is, yeah, it's cool if we can get a hour-long TV show that's 8 episodes, but the format doesn't work for fantasy TV shows. It just doesn't. You can't. There's too much lore. There's too much world building. There's too much character development when it comes to a fantasy project. You can't do that with that. You need to extend it to at least 10 episodes, if not more. I could see if you did it for a TV show that's like a sitcom or like a like Office kind of TV show. Yeah. If you get 8 episodes, fine. There's not much. There's a lot of funny stuff that happens in shows like The Office or something like that, but there's more lore that goes into book adaptations for TV shows that you need to elaborate on. Otherwise, the story doesn't make sense. That's what the Dragon is currently going through right now. Is the show for me is good. I haven't read the book, so I have no say in what the book material or the source material is compared to the show. But I cover the show, so I hear a lot of people that are pissed off about some of the stuff they left out, some of the stuff they're implementing instead of like the whole Rhaenyra and Allison situation that wasn't implied in the book. They just made that into a storyline for out of the blue. Not a lot of fans liked it. Some fans did, some fans don't who've read the book. But there's so much storyline that they have to do that now they're in talks of extending a 4-season series originally into a 5th season. That news just came out today. So that's when fantasy shows are not the same as regular TV shows. And if you're a company, a production company, and you want to make a TV show, invest into this fantasy TV show. Everyone wants to be the next Game of Thrones, but you don't want to put in the time and effort and money that it took to make Game of Thrones. You just want the benefits of what Game of Thrones was, and that's not how it works.
100%. Well said. What mic drop? Tones mic drop. Yeah, I mean, and to come full circle, it's all about. Yeah, you can spend the money on the cinematography, you can spend the money on the fight scenes, but you need that good writing. The writing and the story is what's going to keep people hooked, right? Yep. So yeah, the visuals are great for getting people sort of their foot in the door, but you need the substance to keep them there. So
100%.
We'll see.
So, in my opinion, the show looks freaking great. I'm definitely going to spend the money for the Daily Wire to watch the show. But let's get into the political aspect of this, because it actually plays a huge factor, because a lot of these TV shows are not, or no, I shouldn't say a lot of these TV shows, a lot of these people aren't going to watch this TV show because of who's behind it, the Daily Wire. If one of you guys could start, because you guys probably know more about what the Daily Wire is and why. And OG brought up a good question, how they had the budget to make a show quite like this. It's kind of confusing, but Jay or OG, you guys want to take over and kind of tell us what the Daily Wire is and who? I mean, I don't know. I really don't.
Yeah, it's a conservative outlet. It's a conservative outlet. I think Ben Shapiro is either the owner or the founder. He's a big part of it in one shape or form. I'm not really sure his role in it, but he's huge in it, and he's a big conservative pundit, activist, whatever, right? So yeah, I mean, just being on that side of the political spectrum, we live in a world where it's like, you're either this or that, and there's not a whole lot in between, and so there's going to be Tones 100% people that will absolutely not watch this thing because Ben Shapiro and the Daily Wire, and that's unfortunate because it looks like a pretty good show, man, and that's sad, and I get it. Everyone has their personal political stances, and I respect that. At the same time, though, I don't like it when it happens with the opposite end of it. I don't like when people are like, well, I'm not going to watch a Disney movie because they're woke or they're this or that. It's just as annoying to me when it's on the other end of it. Oh, they're conservative, so I'm not going to give it a chance. To me, it's all closed-minded. If the Daily Wire produces a good show, they produce a good show. I'm going to support good content, so.
And real quick, so knowing that kind of information, you think or at least I think in my head, okay, you guys are making a TV show, you're putting it exclusively on the Daily Wire Plus app. Now, you're probably in your head thinking you're separating the people that usually are on your side politically from the people who aren't on your side politically, which means you're dividing that right there and then. So you're losing a bunch of viewers there, and then you're losing a bunch of viewers who don't even know about the show or don't want to spend money on another streaming platform to watch the show. So you're losing viewers there, and then why not in your head think, okay, let's put this on Netflix or this or that, where most people aren't going to look too deep into it on who backed the production for this movie. A lot of people aren't going to get too deep into it, but they're going to know this TV show is really fucking good. I'm going to watch it. And then they're going to watch it and then be like, oh, well, Daily Wire makes it, but it's still good. I'm going to still watch it. So that's where my head went when I hear, okay, this Daily Wire is the one who makes it, but why didn't they do this? But Jay, what do you say?
Can I rant for a little bit? Are you cool if I rant for a little bit?
Yeah.
All right. So, okay. So, my first part of my rant. My second part of my rant is exactly following your line of thinking. But let me go to the first part of my rant first, which is picking up kind of where OG was. I personally, there is a sentiment that exists that all the people, you'll hear people say this, all art is political. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, what people who don't understand what that phrase means think it means is that all art should have political themes in it. That's not what it means. All art being political just means once you've created something about the human experience, people can utilize it to be like, oh, that inspires me to be this way, or that inspires me to be this other way. Unfortunately, we live in such a hyper politicized environment that what people think is I can only invest in art that aligns with my political beliefs, which is completely insane, because no artist should be like, I have a political opinion, therefore I'm going to make art about that political opinion. That's not how creativity works. Creativity works by saying, what is a shared human experience? And if I have a shared human experience, how can I share that with other people? And it just so happens that sometimes that falls on a political spectrum of some sort. Sometimes, let me give you a perfect example. People will say Star Wars is super political. I'm like, yeah, Star Wars is super political. It's about the politics of a fictional universe that, well, a universe a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Our universe, apparently. But then they'll take that and they'll go, oh, that's why George Lucas is standing up against whatever. And that means that we need to stand up against whatever. Well, here's the thing. As it turns out, both sides fail miserably all the time in being good humans. And so, for example, you'll have situations where it's like, I'm not getting political here. I'm just telling you, because I'm very apolitical. I'm very moderate. I think if you come to me and you say I have an opinion that goes along with the party line, and it is specifically party line, I'm like, that's a bad opinion. If you want to debate me, we can debate it, but that's a bad opinion. And I can debate you all day about why it is a bad opinion. Because I don't care who wins. I don't care if the Democrats win or the Republicans win. I want the best ideas to win. How about that?
Exactly.
So if you come to me and you say, oh, this show is anti-Trump and Trump is an authoritarian, I go, well, why didn't you let the DNC pick the candidate instead of running Kamala Harris? Because you could have done primaries, but you didn't do primaries. That seems pretty authoritarian to me, bro. Why don't you go back to 2016? Well, go ahead.
Yes.
Go ahead.
No, you already said it. 2016. What they did to Bernie? Come on.
What they did to Bernie? Like you're gonna say Bernie wins super delegates, and the super delegates go, oh yeah, but we'll never run Bernie. We got to run Hillary. That's politicking. That does not belong in art unless you're trying to showcase like this is how people behave, and this is a shared human experience we all live under. The shared human experience by someone who does not have lots of power is oppression. It doesn't matter which party you're a part of. They're both going to oppress somebody. Like that's just the nature of how these things work. So to me, it is a huge bummer that they've decided to make this a Daily Wire project, because it does a disservice. Now, why is that? If you go on and you listen to Ben Shapiro at any point in time, all he's talking about is conservative politics, and then he throws in his opinions about movies. Well, you can't do that if you're going to go fund movies, because now I know, oh, these movies are all too woke. So now in my head, I'm thinking, oh, you're just going to be anti-woke about your movies. Does that mean you're not going to have any diverse people in it, and it's going to be less interesting? Like all of a sudden, I have all these preconceived notions that are bad for your business. So now transitioning into what you were saying. So first of all, art should not be political in nature. Art should be the shared human experience in nature. And then people can use that for whatever political means they want to. But that's not what it's about. It's about the shared human experience, about how we see things, how we operate in the world, and with the emotions we feel because of that. And those emotions can be spread across all different kinds of political parties. Now, from a business standpoint, the thing that's really stupid is exactly what you said, Tones, is now I'm thinking about this and I'm going like, wait a minute, not only do I have a preconceived notion that the Daily Wire is putting it out, which means I'm going to hear a certain spectrum of opinions and then not, what is it going to be? The Saxons come in and they're like, immigration is bad, so get the Saxons out of here. I mean, come on, what are we doing, right? Like, this is going to be stupid. So, the next cut that I have is, okay, you're going to put the movie on the Daily Wire. Why would you do that? Because now, okay, so the only people who subscribe to the Daily Wire are people who have a conservative opinion. Maybe there's some people that subscribe to the Daily Wire who are like, I got to know what's going on on the conservative side, and they're really Democrats or something. But you've sequestered, like you said, half of your audience. And by the way, we're talking like a pretty conservative audience. So we're talking about like maybe 30% of the population. We're not even talking about 50% of the population here. We're talking about like 30% of the population. So why would you sequester your money-making ability to just that portion? Are you going to add subs? Well, yeah, they might add Tones as a sub, but guess what Tones is going to do as soon as the show's over? He's canceling the subscription.
Right.
So I don't understand it from a business perspective either. And I think it actually hampers your creativity by putting it out there under that whole auspice that this is going to be a thing that we should do. Why not, why not create stories that have something about the shared human experience that is very meaningful to you, that from a storytelling perspective is very meaningful to lots of people? And why don't you put that out? Like you said, Tones, sell it to Netflix, sell it to Amazon. By the way, you should create it so that it's good enough to be sold to them, right?
Yes.
And so it's just all of that stuff to me is just a big miss from a business standpoint. And I think it's even a miss from like I want to give an example of like I watched an analysis of the teaser trailer that I had seen, and it was these 3 kids. I have no clue who they were. It's 2 guys and a girl. Obviously probably more popular than I am, right? Because they had a whole show where they're talking about this trailer. And this is the kind of thing that I think is, one, totally tone deaf, and also just really stupid, is that this was a conservative pundit show, whatever YouTube pundits these were, right? And they were kind of talking about whether or not they thought it looked good. And in the teaser trailer, the one blonde girl, she has like on like in the teaser trailer she has on like
a Roman thing, like a outfit.
Yeah, it's like a Roman outfit that looks, I mean, it's basically the coverage of a bikini, right? Like that's basically the coverage of it, right? This 20-year-old kid whose brain hasn't fully developed probably goes on a rant about how this is on a conservative channel and we're going to see this hypersexualized person on our conservative channel. I can't believe I'm sitting here. Okay, so I'm sitting there listening to this. I'm going like, you're not going to bring up the fact that, so let's just say that you come from a very fundamentalist perspective, right? And you're like, I'm trying to protect myself. Maybe you even struggle with like lust or something, and so you're trying to like make sure that you're protected from that. Great. As soon as somebody stabs somebody else through the face or like blood spewing all over the place, I'm like, that's okay. Yeah, exactly. Check your own belief system, bro. Now, and you haven't even begun to see the movie to see if they're saying that this is okay or not okay, right? Like, so I'm like, why don't you just go watch cartoons, bro? Like, I don't know what you want in the world, but you're gonna complain about a faith-based series of books that is made by a conservative outlet that is put on a conservative channel, and you're going to sit here and pick it apart because it's not conservative enough for your crazy belief system. Like, so in other words, I'm looking at this from a business perspective. I'm going like, I don't know what you're thinking, because it doesn't make any sense from a business perspective. Having said all of that, I still think the trailer does look really good. I think there's nothing about the trailer that suggests that it's like led by Ben Shapiro. You know, like it's not like they have an Israeli flag and an American flag next to each other and they're running across the battlefield or something. I mean, it looks pretty cool. It doesn't look politically motivated, and I might eat those words when we watch it, and you know, it's like brought to you by the Trump administration or something. But we'll see, because I think the business strategy is very, very strange.
Well, and it's weird to me too, because that whole side of the aisle politically has been saying forever, you know, let's get the politics out and let's just make great entertainment, right? Which, and again, to be fair, we don't know if this is going to be political one way or the other. It maybe it won't be, maybe it will be. We don't know. But just the fact of having it on the Daily Wire makes it political, though.
Correct.
Just having it there makes it, like, if they were to fund it and do it and then put it on Netflix, it would be a nothing burger. but putting it on that conservative platform, you've made it political automatically.
And you have other options, right? First of all, you can go to Tubi, you can go to Mubi, you can sell it as a series on there. You could also go you could talk to Pluto and see if you can get it put on there. So even if you don't want to go to one of the major outlets for some reason, maybe let's just say you're like, well, I want to kind of protect our brand a little bit or something like that, or something. I don't even know what that would mean. You can even put it on a website yourself and gate it and be like, you need to pay this money so you can go watch it. I just think that it's a crazy thought process. Here's what I think is really, truly crazy. I have not seen this work where you would say, I have something that fits this genre and it's punditry about politics. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to expand my punditry and add on a creative fantasy show on top of that, because those two things are unrelated, right? Like you might have some crossover in that audience, but the audience that likes fantasy stories is exponentially larger than the people who want to hear your punditry about conservative politics.
Exactly.
So that's where it just gets so strange, to the point where it's like, why would you put it on that service, and what are you hoping to gain from it? Like, do you think that Tones is going to become a conservative because you put it on Daily Wire Plus, and now Tones is watching Ben Shapiro's movie reviews, and you know what I mean? Like, it's just weird.
Well, all you do is lose people, because even like you were saying, the pundits that were talking about it, right? The conservative kids.
Yeah.
They're conservatives.
Yeah.
And just putting it on Daily Wire Plus, now the conservatives are nitpicking it because it's not conservative enough. So it's like a niche of a niche. It's like we were saying, like it's like Daily Wire is probably 30% of the population, but now it's probably even less than that, because now you have these conservatives within that 30% going, nah, not right wing enough for me.
Correct.
It just messes up everything, you know.
And on top of that, if talking money wise, if they keep adding TV shows with high budgets, like I'm anticipating this is, with the Daily Wire Plus app, isn't going to be fucking $10 a month anymore. It's going to be $30 a month. So that they're going to lose fucking potentially people on the rise of the monthly subscription because of the TV shows that they're going to be putting in. Like, people don't subscribe to the Daily Wire for TV shows other than their own ones that they make for politics, not for fucking Merlin, you know what I'm saying? Or exactly. whatever TV show they're going to be putting on there. So that could potentially go up for that as well. I'm with you guys on this one. The financial thing behind this is just confusing to me. I don't know what they were thinking with it. And like I said, if they were to sell this to a different, and they could still do it, obviously, like later down the line. But I think if you put a TV show out like this and it does well, and the people who actually review TV shows are liking it, I think if they find out it's on the Daily Wire, they're not gonna fuck with it. And then they're gonna be like, oh, I heard about this show fucking 2 years ago when it was on the Daily Wire. I'm still not gonna watch it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's the risk.
Go ahead. No, you taint it. Once you put it on that service, it's over. Like, no one on the left is gonna watch now because it's very tribal, right? Go ahead, Jake.
No. I was gonna say the exact same thing where you guys were going with it. Is like, I actually think that the only thing that they could be hoping, and this is maybe a strategy that might work, is if they got a few outlets to review the series, and the reviews came out and said this is great, and they used that to negotiate a better deal with a streaming service so that they could recoup some of that cost. I think that's something that they could do, because they could say, hey, look, if anybody traces this back to us and sees that the Daily Wire is funding this, we're screwed anyways. So we might as well release it on our platform, get enough of an audience built up where it's like, look, people really love this thing, turn around to Netflix and be like, I just increased the value of it. Because if I brought it to you and be like, this is a Ben Shapiro piece, Netflix would be like, okay, cool, I'll pay you $2,000. What do you want? You know. But if they come along and say, this has been doing crazy well, people are really loving it, look at the reviews that it's getting, people are loving the reviews, there is a chance that could boost the ability to sell it to a place like Netflix,
and then Netflix could continue it and continue to make the show.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I mean,
it's risky though. It's
yeah,
risky.
very risky.
Like OG
Exactly.
said, because it's gonna taint it because you had the Ben Shapiro Association way back when it was associated with it. So
Yep. Fuck, man. I mean, yeah, the one thing I'll say about all of this, and I come back to me not being a political person. Yes, I'm gonna watch it. I am going to now in my head, because I hear all these opinions, especially when I make the content on, I did a video on TikTok, and it's actually, not to toot my own horn, when I make videos that talk about a show that no one's ever heard of, I expect maybe 1,000, maybe 2,000 views if I'm lucky. I'm about to hit 70,000 views on the video that I did for this episode, or
no
for
way.
this show on TikTok, and people are in the comments saying I'm not watching it because of Daily Wire. I'm not watching it because of who's associated with, and that in my head now I have to go in with that mindset. Do I have to look for political, like a political thing that they're throwing in here to maybe try to get whoever's watching the show to kind of lean towards the conservative side or whatever side that they're on? It's like, now I have that in my head. Do I have to keep looking out for these little details that might be in the show now?
Well, even if they do, like, I don't know if they have ads on Daily Wire Plus. They probably don't, but let's just say that hey, we can monetize this by putting ads on it, right? You're going to be sitting there and listening to this, and all of a sudden it's going to come up with like a gun ad every 10 minutes, and it's going to come up with I don't know if you've heard, but the latest Pelosi thing is like all screwed up. Like you would get tired of that and want to cancel just because of the advertisements that they're showing on
Absolutely.
there, So I think it's a big risk, man. Like I want to be supportive of like creators, because I think creators are doing very difficult things, and this looks like a very difficult show to make, and so I want to be supportive of the creators and be like, I hope it turns out for you. Yeah. But when you get to the studios and the people with the money behind it, it starts to get really weird, because a lot of times those people put up money because they want you to say certain things and they want you to have a certain message that goes into it, right? And that to me is like, man, that starts to get really scary.
Well, and the other thing too that really bothers me in this space with politics and all that stuff is like, now if we were to watch the show and enjoy the show, there are people on the other side of the aisle that be like, well, you're this, that, and the other because you're supporting that.
Yeah.
No, I'm not that. I just like the show. But now we all have to worry, like, oh, if I like it, and the people are gonna like, it's like this whole thing. It's like annoying. It really is.
You have to try to defend yourself because you like a show that has nothing to do with politics.
Exactly.
Yes.
It's ridiculous, and both sides they both do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like if but it's crazy. Go ahead, Jay.
No. I was just agreeing with you. They both do it. They both do it all the time, and it is really obnoxious. And again, it's like, let me give you guys an analogy. I don't want to make this too long, Tones, because I know you probably want to wrap it up, but
you're good, brother.
Like, this has been my philosophy of storytelling for a long time, because I used to be much more politically motivated. And the thing I realized was that politics happens over here. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Politics happens as a result of what? This is your vote in America, right? You get to vote on something in America, and that's what your politics are. And I believe all of these things, so therefore I'm going to vote. And that's what politics is. And it's way over here. Well, something has to precede this, right? Because you don't just have opinions. You have to develop opinions. Well, what precedes that? Well, the way that people vote and the political structures that people follow are preceded by a collective set of values that they start to share, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, well, I've shared these collective set of values, so I'll team together with these people. We'll vote this way. Okay, well, how does a collective set of values get developed? Well, by individual people developing their own sets of values, right? So now we're back two whole steps. And there's people developing their values, and they're thinking about how they want to, their individual values and how they want to like shape those and how that's going to compare to each other. Well, okay, so how does an individual person shape their individual values? Well, it's based on how your heart operates and how your soul operates and what you believe about the world and your belief system, your individual belief system. So politics is a result of something that started way back here.
Way back there, yeah.
It starts way back here, and then it goes through these phases before you ever put a vote on a piece of paper. And so for me to say that art should hang out on this circle, no, art should hang out on this circle. so that you help people go, well, that's an interesting piece of art. How does that affect me emotionally? What do I think about that? Now I'm actually going to change the way I view the world and change my value system. Who else has these value systems? I need to talk to people. I mean, to the fact that you would say we're going to create content to be in this circle over here, when the heart and emotion of the situation is 3 or 4 circles back, is complete insanity. It makes no sense to do. So I just hope that more people will hang out in this area and not think to themselves like, oh, this has to be a political thing. It has to be politically motivated. I'm not saying that the politics of something shouldn't cause you to feel something and create something, but you have to do the due diligence of saying, wait a minute, why do my friends believe this way? Why do I believe this way? What about my heart is it that I'm thinking about this? And that's when you'll be able to be non-political, and you'll be able to have anybody on any spectrum go, oh yeah, that's a really, really good point. Like, they're making some really good points. You should take care of people, right? Now, if I do a story about me taking care of immigrants, guess what? I can convince anybody. If I hang out over here and do a story about how we should take care of immigrants, I can create a story. I can tell a story that is about, yeah, we should take care of immigrants. If I come out and say like, no, there's a border crisis and this kind of person is really bad and they're evil and they're coming across the border, I've just taken all of the other people out of the equation, and I haven't given you a real truthful experience. I've given you propaganda. So don't do propaganda. Go do the due diligence to work on what is going on, why you feel a way about it, why other people who disagree with you feel a different way about it, then start to create from there. And that's where I think it needs to hang out. And we just don't hang out there. And that's why I'm rooting for creators, because I think a lot of really good creators, I know people who are super politically bent one way, and yet they're awesome creators, and it doesn't come into their politics at all. And that's the kind of stuff that I think is really amazing.
And that's one thing you have to question about this show as well, because we are going to be in a politic world of the Saxons and the Brits, and we're going to be in a politic world within this show. We're going to have kings and we're going to have a lot of politic talk in here. Now, you have to decide for yourself as a viewer what you're allowing to take over your thought process. Is it, if it's going to correlate with the politics we're in now, with the world that we live in today, if you're going to let that affect you in the real world, the stuff that goes on in the show. Exactly. You as a viewer have to decipher what's different and what's not. So I think that's going to be the scary part, is if we see stuff that kind of remind you of the things that's going on today. Does that mean that Daily Wire is trying to push a narrative of what they think, Exactly. So that's going to be the scary part. And if people can kind of take the show for what it is and not bring it into the world where they think that's 100%. Real, you know what I'm saying?
100%.
Well, and that's the thing too. If the Daily Wire goes that route where they're pushing a narrative, they have become the thing they've complained about for years. Yeah, the whole shtick with Daily Wire is Disney is inserting politics into the entertainment. We don't want the politics. Okay, that's fine, but then don't go and make your own content and inserting your politics in. That was one of my biggest criticisms of that whole movement against Disney. Was like, I felt like it wasn't so much about getting the politics out; it was about getting that politics out and putting mine in.
Yep.
And that's 100%. The thing. We'll see. Now, to be fair, we like we said, we don't know Daily Wire. I mean, they might do a great show with none of that BS in there. We'll have to wait and see.
Yep.
Exactly.
We will have to wait and see. January 20. January 22nd is when the show drops, guys. Like I said, we don't know if this is going to be a season by season show. We don't know if this is going to be just a standalone show. We do know there are 7 books that go into the source material, but as far as the rest of that is something we'll figure out down the line. I am going to be covering the show. The only thing that sucks is it is going to be a 7-part series, which means I hope they drop it all at once so I don't have to renew for a second month for the Daily Wire.
Sure.
But no, honestly, if it's good enough, bro, like I don't care if I have to spend 20
Hey, contribute to Tones so he can pay for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Contribute to Tones. It's like, send him some money.
Super chat.
Exactly.
Super chat.
But yeah, any last thought, guys, before we get out of here? We went through a lot in this episode, which was fantastic. I loved every part of this talk that we had, because it had to be said because of where this show's being released at. You know what I'm saying?
It looks great, man. It really looks great, and maybe we'll all get heat for saying that because it's Daily Wire, but I don't really care. I think it looks really good,
Yeah.
And I'm rooting for the show. I hope the writing is really good and they really deliver on it. And if they do, I'll support it 100%.
And like I said, the Daily Wire. I mean, I don't care. I don't.
Right.
Like I said, people have made it a point where they are so strong about politics where I don't even care no more. I live my life where I don't have to worry about what people say. Obviously, I know what goes on in the world and I form my own opinion, but I don't make it a point to talk about politics. And the Daily Wire putting out the show, I'm going to look at it as content and content only, and I'm not going to let anything else veer my mind for that. And that's what I'm going to do when I go into the show.
Yeah, that's smart. Yeah, I agree with both you guys. I'm not rooting against any creators, right? Like I don't think that the average person understands, because you hear a lot of complaints about writers and you hear a lot of complaints. I don't think the average person understands how difficult it is to make something like this. It is so difficult. There are so many pitfalls to making something like this. And in fact, I watched a movie last night. I watched Eddington last night, and I finished the movie and I'm like, I'm pretty sure I hate this movie, but I'm really glad it's made because it's completely unhinged. And somebody should make that. Somebody should make something completely unhinged. And if I hate it, no big deal. I'm glad that you made it. So like my reaction to something and what the creator put into it, I think shouldn't even, who cares what Jay thinks, right? But like, so I agree with you guys 100%. I'm rooting for the creators. I really hope that it is not politicized. If they do politicize it in any way, shape, or form, it will be stupid. And Tones will come back and tell us like this is really stupid. But I'm rooting for it. I mean, I will say this: the teaser trailer that I watched, I was like, I think this is going to be bad. That trailer that we watched today, I was shocked because I had the same reaction that you guys did even before you started talking and saying like, wow, that looks really good. I was like, my thought process was that trailer looks way better than the teaser that I saw earlier, where, to be honest with you, it seemed like the show was about that blonde girl who was in the bikini that the guy didn't like or whatever.
Gotcha.
Because it just seemed like they were showing a lot of her. They were kind of hiding Merlin from you in a lot of different ways. This show is about Merlin. He's coming back. He might be saving all of Britain. I go, oh, that's really pretty cool. I like that. I can get behind that. And that trailer was really well done to the point where that battle scene where they've got the catapults firing into the city, that was gorgeous. So hey, and the accents were good. We didn't hear a lot of like talking. There wasn't a lot of dialogue in the trailer, but the dialogue that they did have, I went, this seems like solid acting to me. It doesn't seem bad. So yeah, I'm intrigued. I'm not going to sign up for the Daily Wire. So don't tell me how it is.
I got you.
I'm not going to sign up for the Daily Wire. So maybe if it is really good, hopefully they'll sell it to somebody. I'll be able to watch it.
One thing that I do want to, and this is a little bit of a tangent, but not really because we did talk about it. One thing I really do want to try is because, Tones and Jay, you both have spoken very highly of, was it Wheels of Time?
The Wheel of Time, yeah.
Wheel of Time. And another person, I don't know if you guys follow Addison from EDN, that YouTube channel. And those guys over there, they did a lot of stuff about that show as well. And they loved it too. Like, I respect you guys like crazy. I like everyone that I've heard, everyone that I've seen, like that I know that has watched it has loved it. And it's been on my radar. It's been on my list for a while now, and I really want to check it out. It's only 3 seasons, right? From what I understand.
Yeah, 3 seasons.
I gotta check it out, man. Because so many people say it's like such a sleeper hit, and that's something that really, and it's like high fantasy like vibe.
Yeah. And in my opinion, I would say it was mid to start. It got better. Season 3 was the best, and then they canceled it. So it takes a while. It can take a while to get into because if you don't know some of the books and some of the lore, I've read the first 2 books, I think, but it's like it's a lot. There's a lot going on.
It's one of those shows where you have to put your phone down, don't schedule anything for a couple hours and focus on, because the best part of the show, honestly, OG, is the world building and the characters, the character development. Cinematography I think takes over all that in season 3, but the first 2 seasons, literally, it's beautiful character development within the first 2 seasons, and you get connected to characters pretty fast, especially the ones that they throw in at random points of the show. You connect with them pretty quick, which is, I mean, Jay could think of could probably explain this better, but that's hard to do, especially in a TV show, 8 episodes, high fantasy shows. So
and they recast one of the roles. They recast one of the guys. And then you're like, wait, who is this guy? And you're like, okay, I gotta do the math. Yeah.
What were you gonna say?
Crazy. Oh, I'm sorry. What platform is this? Is this Netflix or is this Amazon? Or
Prime, Prime Video.
Yeah. Prime Video. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But Jay, please, I would love, whenever you're free, bro, I would love to do an episode with you about that, because I have no one to talk to about it. Nobody watches the show besides besides my followers and my supporters, but nobody watches the show, and I thought it was the best fantasy show I've seen since Game of Thrones. Even better than I thought it was better than House of the Dragon. And
that's really
that's for me.
Wow,
yes. That's wild, bro.
I like House of the Dragon better. Have you ever seen Shadow and Bone?
Yes,
they
like canceled that too. Yes,
I like that one a lot. I like that one a little bit better than Wheel of Time. Each one of them. I watch a lot of the fantasy shows because my wife and I both like them. It's like something that we both like dig. So like I watch a lot of them. But yeah, it was a bummer that they canceled that one. I stopped watching midway through season 3 when I heard they canceled it, because I'm like, why bother, dude? Like, you canceled it, which is a bummer. You know what I mean? Like, but whatever.
Well, and that's why I want to see it so bad, because I've only known 3 people that have actually seen it: Tones, Jay, you, and then Addison from EDN, and you guys all love it. So I'm like, there's something to it. You know what I'm saying? So
I will say this, because I did cover it so much, is I'd learned to hear the people who've read the books side on why they disliked it, because that was the big reason of why the show got canceled, is because a lot of the people who read the books never gave the show a chance. And but the very first episode, apparently the character, I think his name is Perrin, he had a wife in the show, and that something happened, and that didn't happen in the books. So people literally saw that, stopped watching it. And that wasn't just one person, it was hundreds of people. I got hundreds and thousands of views for videos that I did on the Wheel of Time, and hundreds of people commented that was the last time the last thing they seen was that very first episode. They're like, nope, can't do it. But yeah, give it a watch. OG, you'll absolutely love it for sure. But boys, I appreciate you guys for coming on. We could talk for hours about anything and everything, but we're gonna wrap it up here. Jay, I'll start with you again. Thank you again for coming up. Shout out your movie and where they can find you again.
Yeah, you can watch Disclosure. It's about you're hearing a lot about Alien Disclosure. In fact, it's a new movie that's out that I want to do a review of. I haven't watched it yet, but it's called Age of Disclosure, and it's about the real life situation about like what kind of alien technology is actually out there. Is the government lying to us? All that kind of stuff. I listened to a bunch of those podcasts. I'm very familiar with that topic. That's why I wrote this movie, Disclosure, which is pure fiction. But it's based off of what I've heard that's out there. Set in the 1960s. I think you'll really like it. It has a big twist at the end. If you want to see Tone's reaction to that, you should watch that too. But yeah, it was really fun to put together. You can watch that over at How Stories Work with Jay Sherer, in addition to all my other videos where I'm breaking down storytelling and either directing or writing or a little bit of both. As I learn to try and become a better storyteller, I'm just sharing what I'm learning, and that's all over there. And then you can also subscribe, because No Vacancy, which is our award-winning film, will be out probably in January. I still got to figure out what my rollout schedule is going to be for that. So we'll see.
Cool. Yes, sir. Yes, I will. At the end of this video, 2 videos are going to pop up. I'm going to put Disclosure as one of them and our reaction video as the other. So feel free to go watch the one on Jay's channel first, come back and look for our reaction video. But thanks again, Jay. I'll leave all the stuff in the description below as well. OG 55, appreciate you as always, brother.
Absolutely.
Where can they find you? And also let everyone know again what you do on your channel, please.
Thank you, Tones. Appreciate you, Jay. Appreciate you, brother. Yeah, you can find me right here on YouTube, Orange Grove 55. We talk a lot about theme parks, studio, corporate side. I actually have this thing that I'm doing now on the channel for about a month and a half now called Bar Chats, where we take the conversation to these bars. We have like this talk in that setting, just kind of change the pace outside the studio. So a friend of the channel, his name is Thrilla B. He actually, I ran into him at Disneyland on, was it Sunday or Saturday? And I was like, dude, do you want to do a bar chat with me? So we sat down for like an hour. We did a bar chat. It was really, really fun. I have another bar chat coming out. I recorded with lovely gal named China, and I've recorded that with her. So both of those are coming out in the next week or so. And both about theme parks, so heavily theme park stuff on both of those. But yeah, you can find us here on Orange Grove 55 talking all that good stuff, and also on Instagram, Orange Grove 55. And thanks to my sister, I got a lot of new followers lately. She shared me out. So thanks, sis.
Absolutely. Yes, guys, please go give him a follow. Go give them a follow. Amazing work that they do over there. If you guys want to find me on any social media, just go to Tones_TV. We are going to be doing Stranger Things lives tomorrow, probably, well, tomorrow or Friday, depending, because Thanksgiving and all that stuff. But we are going to be talking a lot about Stranger Things on TikTok and also here with Jay, and we're probably going to have more guests as well. We're going to be talking all Stranger Things for the next couple months. House of the Dragon in June or whenever it comes out next year, and then A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, which is another Game of Thrones spinoff that drops January 6th next year as well. So we're going to be talking a whole bunch of that. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button, with notifications on, so you guys are notified once a video is uploaded. But thanks for watching. We'll see y'all on the next one. Love y'all.